Well, there you go. Dave Lee, from the last qualified position, takes the win in VWDRC. Heads up. Richie Webb's car stalls just as he goes into stage. 11.99, a run that would have barely qualified him, and he's going to be the one getting a trophy for VWDRC. Heads up.
He's going to slowly bring it in. Here we go. Lights are green. Dave got the better reaction time. But the 60 foot is for Jacob Bailey, 163 at the 8th mile, 109. Jacob goes 10.12 and 133 for a new personal best.
Wow. And what a start from both cars as well. Incredible.
Not one of the quickest cars in the class, but he has been damn consistent. He has beaten some fast cars. He won round 1 and he was runner-up at round number 2. And second in the championship is Jacob Bailey with the R32 Turbo Jetta. He is 1 point behind Dave. Currently in third place is Paul Jordan with the 4-wheel drive 20-valve turbo Polo. Basically, anyone else behind that has got a good old dogfight to get up in the top 3. But we'll be keeping an eye, of course, on Dave Lee, Jacob Bailey and Paul Jordan. With qualifying, every qualifier, which there is going to be 2, there are bonus points as well. So the fastest in qualifying round number 1 gets 3 bonus points, the second fastest gets 2, and the third fastest gets 1. When you come around to qualifying round number 2, again, the 3 fastest in that specific qualifier, again, there are 3 little bonus points. All of these little bonus points really do add up, and they will matter as we come to the end. Right, Avi has given the thumbs up. We're good to go, ladies and gentlemen. And it's time to kick off the final round of VWDRC Heads Up. If you enjoy what you see, check out VWDRC on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or VWDRC.com. Get yourself involved if you've got a car that you want to take part. This is our Heads Up class, but we also have bracket racing classes for cars going up to 30 seconds. All bit of fun, some good money available to win, and we also have our private days that we do throughout the summer, VWDRC drag days and pre-season training. But with that, choose your poison. Do you like a front-wheel drive car? Do you like a four-wheel drive car? Do you like all-wheel drive? Do you like a petrol? Do you like a diesel? Water-cooled, air-cooled, you name it, we've got it. Say it. VW. No Audis or Skodas this week. No, we got one out. So as I said, qualifying 11.99 is the cut-off for the class. You have to run that. 2 10-second cars on the start line. 4-wheel drive 20-valve turbo in the Kestrel beer lane. Front-wheel drive 20-valve turbo in the Auto Glim lane. Wiggle from Anthony Mincher, but he's going to have to keep his foot in and go for it all the way down the drag strip. Paul Jordan starts today with a 10.32 at 149. Anthony Mincher goes through with a 12.56 at 119. So now the pressure is on for him. He is not qualified. Right, next up will be, we have our teammates, Team J's Garage. So we have Ben Lomas, taking on Jamie Lockyer. Confused some people with a front-wheel drive burnout. It's actually four-wheel drive. So 2-litre TFSI with 4Motion underneath that Mark 1 Jetta. And there we go. The gate is closed. Okay, good to go. So again, looking to run 11.99. 163.60 foot for Jamie, 98 at the 8. He's going to go through an 11. goes through at 11.13. New personal best at 122 miles an hour. Right. 2 cars currently qualified. Chris Roylance. 368. Okay, so Chris Roylance with the Volks Workshop shop car. This is kind of his track car. He's building a 20 valve turbo up, ready for next season. He's taking on Wayne Gill with the Golf R. One in full road mode, one on drag slicks. Wayne is long gone. Now this is qualifying, reaction times don't matter, but when we come into eliminations, they really do matter. Wayne doing 101.8 goes through with a 10.89 at 126 and an 11.09 at 119. So that is 4 cars currently qualified. Will we? Well, sweet. Okay then, next pair in. Do you like your Mark III Golf more doors? Tom Herbert has the normally aspirated 12 valve VR6 with nitrous, ran down to 11.6s at Bug Jam. He's taking on Ed Keach with the turbocharged VR6, the Tango Golf. He's been building this himself, tuning himself, and he's just enjoying himself, getting it quicker and quicker. He's looking to get his 11-second run this weekend. So Tom Herbert coming up into stage. Right, so where are we? Championship leader with the R32 nitrous assisted Mark III Golf taking on through 11.74 at 118, which I believe may be a personal best, to a 12.53. Next up, we have first air-cooled of the day, Ollie Whitehouse with the Beetle. Taking on Mark Taylor with the 20 valve turbo front-wheel drive layout, sponsored by GTI Turbo, one of the VWDRC's sponsors. On the Tuesday. 168.60 foot for Ollie though. Mark now making the power at the top end. Mark's going to go through first with 11.74, and Ollie goes through with a 13 at 100 miles an hour. So currently the bump is an 11.84 as it slowly moves down. We have 7 cars that are qualified. Next up, Il Parata, Paul Jackson, 4-wheel drive 20 valve turbo Lupo that went down into the 9s at the national finals, is taking on that legendary Mark I Golf, the 5-cylinder Quattro, rear-wheel drive Mark I Golf. Grant Parker looking to get this car quicker and quicker as Paul goes deep stage, shorten the track. Looking like he's having issues on the start line. Reaction time's not. Second reaction time, but the clock will not start until he is driving anyway. So an 11.16 for Paul Jackson, and Grant goes through with an 11.78. So again, 2 more cars currently qualified. That's all that matters at the moment, is making sure you get that 11-second ticket. Next up, parachute on the back as well now. So the 4-wheel drive Caddy with the R32 turbo of Mike Whitaker went down into the 9s at the door slammers. He's taking on Andy Turner with the rear-wheel drive Audi TT.
drive shaft for Andy Turner. You can see it flapping in the wind. Meanwhile, Mike goes 110 at the 8th. And goes through with a 10.22 and 137 to make himself number 1 qualifier at the moment. Right, next up, as the tower goes all dark, this is going to be one of those runs you're probably not going to see much of. Helder Piera with the Batmobile, that runs down into the 9s, taking on Jose Lake with the Polo, and that runs down where you go. Jose Lake went to 10 flat a couple of weeks ago at the door slammers. He is looking for his first ever 9-second pass. Let's see what Helder can do in queue number 1. Don't forget, number 1 qualifier at the moment is 10. Right, pretty similar 60 foots. Helder's car looking lovely and clean. Oh, big pop there as it goes through the finish line. Flame as well. Goes through with a 10.27 at 130 to a 10.42. That's a massive pop for Helder's car. I saw a flame over the bonnet. Versus front-wheel drive Golf, 10.31 to a 10.45. So, nothing to write home about on speed. 71 at the 8th, 53. That goes for 19 meters. As you can imagine, they're not going to be qualified. One more run though. So we currently have 14 cars qualified for the 16-car ladder. Jacob Bailey yet to run. Chris Waterhouse on the line. Both of these cars capable of running the numbers. Jacob Bailey is second in the championship, so he's going to want to get these little extra bonus points. Simply, if he goes 1, 2 or 3, he could take himself into the top of the championship. Inside 163.60 foot for Jacob. The 8th mile doing 114 and goes for the top at 9.75 at 153. Massive personal best for Jacob Bailey. Yes! 60 foot was not even the best for him, but that is by far his best. Congratulations, Jacob. Missy with a 10.79 and 127 for Chris Waterhouse as well. Okay, so the number on the board, you can see at the top end of the track now, is 1184. That is the bump spot for the class. We do have 26 cars entered. There are only 16 cars that will go into eliminations. You have to run 1184 or quicker. Okay, so Becky down there with Ruby Blue. As I said, 1184 is now the bump spot for the class. That is what she needs to run to get qualified. Then have one more qualifier as well. Okay, so doing 80 miles an hour at the 8th. Not going to run down into the 11s. She gets one more go after this. Now, as I was saying, this is Alex Day coming underneath the tower now, doing his observe runs for the class. He is 16 years old and 11 days. And because he has a Motorsport UK licence, he can run. The Golf a few weeks ago went as quick as 12.6 with Paul Day driving. We're not expecting Alex to do that sort of time. In fact, we're just looking for him to go to A to B to get his licence and run. So 2.7860 foot at the 8th mile,
Doing 70 miles an hour, that's much quicker. Yesterday's personal best was an 18-second run. I think we're going to be chopping that down. 16:37 at 97 miles an hour, and gets the thumbs up from Mr. Marshall. I believe. Okay, so again, on the top end of the gantry, you'll see 1184. That is the 16-car bump spot. Hopefully that will reduce as the class goes on and people move up in qualifying, and that will reduce and make it tighter and tighter. Both of these cars are currently qualified. Chris Roylance ran an 11.09. Paul Jackson ran an 11.16. You don't want to be sitting with an 11-second qualifying pass at the moment with 10 cars on the bump spot. Great launch by Paul Jackson. 145 to the 60 foot. Here we go, the Pirate. 115 of the 8th. Is he going to go into the 9s? 974 at 143. Massive personal best for Paul Jackson. Oh, the fight is on between Paul and Jacob to be the fastest this weekend. Wow. That's what we like to see. Okay, next up, so on the outside looking in, it is Ben Lomas with the 20 valve turbo Mark 1 Polo. He is currently qualified way down 22nd with a 15-second valve. Good launch though. This time he's taking on teammate Jamie Lockyer. Now Jamie is already qualified, but he is qualified number 12 with 11.13. See what he does this time, 11.79. Then go through with a 13.70. So, literally, as he said through my ear, first victim of the day, Ben Lomas, is eliminated from VWDRC. Heads up as he moves in to run what you run for the rest of the afternoon. Next up, Wayne Gill with the 10-second Golf R taking on Ed Keach with the VR6 Turbo Mark III. Ed Keach is on the bump spot, 1184. He is the man that should be worried. He's going to get a solo run. So Wayne Gill left before the lights by the looks of it, as he's getting no time there. But now he's going to be worried because he is, as I said, on the bump spots. Paul Jordan is currently qualified 5th with a 6th with a 10.33. Tom Herbert is currently not qualified. So Tom has got a beat at 11.84. Paul Jordan making Tom's car run look quite slow. Jordy goes through with a 10.01. Tom goes through with a 12.60. Unfortunately, that is the end of his competition. That is another car knocked out. VWDRC heads up. Right, next up, Anthony Mincher with the Mark 1 Golf. Taking on Bruce Carpaz. Now, Bruce Carpaz is on the outside looking in. He is currently qualified 18th. Can he beat 11.84 to get in eliminations? Red light's not going to make any difference. He is still going to get a time. That is a much better launch though. At the 8th mile, doing 78 miles an hour. He's fortunately not going to be qualified. Anthony Mincher goes through in 11.57. 11.57 moves Anthony up from 19th to 13th. He is now qualified at the moment. So let's see what the bump spot comes up when the team. There he goes. 11.78 is now dropped to for the fastest 16. Currently on the bump spot for number 16, it is Grant Parker with the Mark 1 Golf. So his is the 11.78 bump spot. He's looking to improve on that. He's also racing against Mark is currently 14th with an 11.74. So again, he wants to be moving that up as well. This time goes through an 11.33. That improves him. 16th to 11th. And from 14th to 14th. So both cars still qualified. Now, championship contention. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Dave Lee down there with the Mark III VR6. He is second in the championship, but he is on the bump spot.
11.74. That is his number on the board. He is going to want to beat that, but he has got to beat 11.57 to get into 15th place. So it's going to be a tense few minutes watching the rest of the cars going through for Dave. Improve on his time this time, unfortunately. Let's see what Ollie Whitehouse can do. So Ollie goes through the top end with a 13.01. Dave goes through with a 13.8. So he is still the man on the bump spot. Our number 2 in the championship is on the bump spot in the final qualifier of the season. And we have another 6 pairs to go. Ed Keach back on the start line. He's not qualified yet. Can he beat 11.74? That will be a personal best if he does. He's taking on Jacob Bailey. Jakey ran a personal best earlier. He is now the leader in the championship. Let's see if he can beat a 9.75, which is good enough for second qualifier now, because Paul Jackson went quicker. Well, unfortunately, issues for Jake on the start line. It's not going to matter for this run. Ed Keach, let's see what he can do. 95 in the 8th. Can he beat 11.74? Ed Keach, 11.46. He knocks Dave Lee, number 2 in the championship, out of the championship for 2021. Oh my God. Ed Keach, massive personal best as well for an 11.46. Right, next up, four-wheel drive Lupo versus front-wheel drive Lupo. James Morgan with a four-wheel drive that ran earlier. He is currently qualified number 6 with a 10.30. Nice launch for James there. What have we got? 153, 60 foot, 8 mile speed about 109. We're going into the 10s. 10.35, 136. No improvement for him in qualifying. Meanwhile, Ethan Lyle, feeling like he's having the slowest run of his life. Goes through with 8.20 with 67. He doesn't care. He's going to roll into Run With Your Brung, and he's going to terrorise the Class A. Okay, Alex Day's first ever race. I said earlier, 16 years old. He is now fully licensed for drag racing. He can race against a competitor. He is taking on Daniel Moulton with the 20 valve turbo Lupo. Oh. So it's going to be a solo run. I think Ian is going to send him. He is indeed. So 14.44 for Daniel Walton. Unfortunately, that is the end of his day, and also is the end of Alex Day's day. But he is just going to drop into Rocky Run and continue. Right, who have we got next? Right, so both of these cars currently qualified, so we are all good. Mike Whitaker with the four-wheel drive caddy. Can he take that number 1 spot? Currently, number 1 qualifier is Paul Jackson with a 9.74. Number 2 is Jacob Bailey with a 9.75. Taking up the Waterhouse, four-wheel drive Audi. Nice launch, 151 and 64. And Mike goes 9.87 to make himself third in the qualifying. 10.75 and 128. Again, another really nice run for Chris Waterhouse. Alright, who we got next? So, a couple more to go. Becky Turnock, currently not qualified. Earlier she ran 14. 12. Carl Goldsmith, currently qualified number 8 with a 10.45. He's going to want to improve on that just for some points. No matter what, he is qualifying for the race. Becky's looking to get in. Alright, there's up points there. By Becky Turnock, 162.64. Carl's 171. Carl doing 198. Improvement for him. That moves him to 8th position. Becky Turnock moves from 22nd to 21. Okay then, final runner in VWDRC heads up qualifying for 2021. Hal De Pierre is currently qualified 5th with a 10.27.
And unfortunately, I don't know what happened there. I'm going to assume he has done another head gasket. They're going to have about 45 minutes to fit a new head gasket to that car. So give them all the love. They will do it. They have done an engine swap in 56 minutes before, between elimination and qualification. They will go straight up to the pits and they will be smashing that out. You watch the Portuguese guys. I have got full faith in them. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, VWDRC heads up. Qualifying for 2021 is over. Dave Lee, shocker of the day, our number 2 in the championship, does not qualify for eliminations. He is now going to sit and watch and hope that Paul Jordan does not take his second. So this is heads up racing, first to the finish. We're on a pro tree, the lights will drop, and as it said, to get to the finish line, 2 10-second cars on the start line. Wayne Gill, he ran in qualifying a 10.89. Carl Goldsmith ran a 10.39. As you can imagine, four-wheel drive is generally a lot more consistent off the line, but we know Carl can cut a light. Here we go. Wayne comes in full stage. Lights drop, the reaction time, massive advantage for Carl Goldsmith. Does Wayne have enough to catch up with him as he puts the hazards on, saying help? But Carl actually looks like he's slowing at the top. Carl's going to go through with an 11.70, Wayne's at 11.05, but the reaction time lost him that race. Whole shot win to Carl Goldsmith. Right then, Dave down there just arming the punch. So, number 3 qualifier, Mike Whitaker, who ran a 9.87, takes on Mark Taylor with the Seat Leon, who ran a 10.33. Capable of running down into the 10s. And let's see what he can do now. We're into race mode. Nice drop. Mark gets the reaction time advantage. But Sleepy Mike is not so sleepy and drives around him. Doing 114 at the 8th to 109. It's a good tie at the top though. Oh, 10.17 to 10.54. Very tight win margin there by 0.18 of a second. Alright, next pairing. Paul Jackson versus Anthony Vinci. So, four-wheel drive versus front-wheel drive, both of them 20-mile turbo. The lights drop. Number 1 qualifier, Paul Jackson is out of the gate, 165, 60 this time, misses a gear, lets Anthony catch up, and then drives away again, doing 101 at the 8th. Paul Jackson rolls on to the next round with an 11.57 and 138. Lucky boy. Next pairing. Paul Jordan, four-wheel drive, 20-valve turbo Polo, one of the fan favourites. Looks so stock, and he is taking on Jamie Lockyer with the four-wheel drive, 2-litre TFSI engined Mark 1 Jetta. Question is, do you like your old school or your new school dubs? It's good to see them all out at GTI Festival 2021. The light drop, reaction times. It's a good little side-by-side race. Someone is spinning up the track. Little pop of smoke out of Geordie's car. This is going to be tight. I think Jamie's got his nose out in front, and the win goes to Jamie Lockyer with an 11.54 to an 11.97. Alright, next pairing. Rear-wheel drive, Mark 1 Golf versus four-wheel drive, VW Lupo. 20-valve turbo versus the Quattro 5-cylinder engine. Pretty similar reaction times. They are side by side at the 330. They're almost side by side at the 8 mile, 107 to 104. But the wind goes through. James Rose with 10.33 to a 10.61. That's best. With that set up for Grant Parker as well, so he's going to be happy. Don't forget, any of these guys that lose will just be joining the Run What You Brung pairing lanes and coming to join you guys out there. It's not the end of their day. Next up, diesel versus petrol. Oh, both cars having issues. Now, oh, it's a shame. If Chris could have got his car started there, he could have caught him up.
But Jose Lote is going to be a very, very lucky boy and goes through to the next round with a 13.48 at 129. With that, we have two more pairings, Jacob Bailey versus Ed Keach. And we have Helder Piera versus Chris Roylance. Well, we'll take a wild guess. That is the diesel of Helder Piera, and he is facing Chris Roylance. So Golf R versus Sid IB for petrol versus diesel. Number 5 qualifier against number 12. Calendar line reaction times. This should be all Helder. As he goes through with a 980 at 147. Jacob Bailey on the start line now, looking up and going, there's my competition. Jacob has run down into the 9s. He went 975, his personal best in qualifying round number 1. He's going to be facing up against Ed Keach, good friend. Personal best early at 11.46 as he tunes his own car. Okay, so your championship leader at the moment, Jacob Bailey with the R32 Jetta, 2 points in the lead. In fact, he has more now in qualifying points. The reaction time advances to Ed Keach. He's just out at the front at the moment. But Jacob Bailey powers on by 117 at the 8th. How deep in the 9s are we going? 978. Then goes through with a 15.51 at 57 miles an hour. There we go. Noted Jacob Bailey. Parachute time for you, sir. So, Bruce Capaz, first alternate, no broke, he's going to get a solo run. 146.60 foot, unfortunately missed second gear there. Do us a favour, ladies and gentlemen. When the little Polo stops in front of the grandstand, give him a big round of applause. He's literally done an engine swap in 45 minutes to make the next round of eliminations. Well done, Jose. Paul Jackson thought he had it easy. Okay, then here we go, then, ladies and gentlemen. It is the quarterfinals of VWDRC Heads Up. It is the final weekend, the final round. Jacob Bailey is currently leading the championship. The main two people just behind them, Paul Jordan and Dave Lee, are both eliminated from competition. But obviously we will not crown our winner until the very last. Meanwhile, Helder Piera with the 1.9 TDI Batmobile down there. He is racing against the petrol 4-wheel drive 2-litre TFSI Mark 1 Jetta. So as we get down to the nitty gritty, semi-finals is when we'll find out who you're supporting in the race. Maybe if you're watching online, let us know in the comments who you want to win. But again, it is first to the finish, heads up racing, green light drops, then a reaction time massively by Jamie Lockyer. Issues for Helder Piera on the start line. Jamie is going to be looking in his mirrors, just fist bumping as he's going through to the semi-finals and goes through with a 12.30 at 95. This is going to be a really tough matchup. Jacob Bailey, number 1 qualifier, championship leader, and one of the fastest in the class this weekend. Taking on Carl Goldsmith with the Mark II Golf. Who you want to win? Cheer them on. We know Carl can be a demon on the lights from many, many years of competing in Street Eliminator. He knows that pro tree all too often. Here we go then. So, Carl double bowls Jacob. Here him ready. Jacob's on the 2 steps. Reaction time from Carl Goldsmith. But issues in the first 2
160 foot. Now we've got a race on. Jacob at the 8th doing 116, Carl doing 108, but Jacob goes through with a 988 and 151 to a 1065 and 138. Jacob Bailey has a 9-second consistent race car. Okay, then this should be a good little one. 2 4-wheel drive cars. We have R32 Turbo in the caddy of Mike Whitaker. He was our number 3 qualifier, taking on James Rhodes with the 4-wheel drive 20 valve turbo Lupo. He was number 6 qualifier with a 1031. Qualifying doesn't matter now though. We are drag racing, heads up. Hang on the lights. Better reaction time for James Rhodes. He is out at the moment, past the 60 foot of the 8th mile speeds we have. 113 to 110, it's tight all the way to the top, but the winner goes to James Rhodes. 10:15 at 136, the Lupo goes through to the next round, knocking out the caddy. He will be facing Jacob Bailey in the next round. 43 minutes to change an engine. Jose Late has made it down. He is facing our number 1 qualifier, Paul Jackson, with that 9-second Lupo. Jose Late straight into double stage. He's revving the engine, pulls in, better reaction time for Paul Jackson. Well, looks like unfortunately issues there for Jose, so he has sensibly lifted it. Paul Jackson though doing 113 in the 8th and goes 9.99 and 144 to face Jamie Lockyer in the final. Commiserations guys, superb effort to get that engine changed. They'll literally get back, they'll check it over, and I'm pretty sure you'll find them in the pair of names taking on some Robbie Brung fun to finish off the day. So our semi-finals, this is going to be good. Paul Jackson with the Lupo taking on Jamie Lockyer with the 4-wheel drive Jetta. Then we also have a front-wheel drive Jetta of Jacob Bailey taking on the 4-wheel drive Lupo of James Rhodes. Ely Darkside Development, Renegade Racing Fuels, aka Track Stuff, Racing Fuels and Tyres, WRP Paints and Restoration, Volkswagen Shop, Star Autos Limited, Pro Race Engineering, Artec Performance, CG Motorsport, Performance Clutches, EST Performance, The Car Kitchen, 32 Speed Shop, BJ Basin Electrical, Track Ready, GP Turbos, White Label, Harvey Property Developments and European Front-Wheel Drive. So of course thank you very much to all of them for their support this year. Yeah, right, here we go. Semi-finals of VWDRC Heads Up. For the people who raised their hands, for Jacob Bailey, the Auto Glim Lane. For the fans of James Rhodes with the 20 valve turbo 4-wheel drive Lupo, he is in the Kestrel Beer Lane. Again, heads up racing as you've seen all day long, first to the finish. Right, Jacob's in, James is in, James is double in. Jacob slowly creeping up. Light drop. More side-by-side reaction times, issues for champion Jacob Bailey. James Rhodes is going to roll on into the final with a 10:29, personal best, 135. Unfortunately, our champion for 2021, his season ends in the semi-finals. Personal best this weekend of 9:75. He is going to be happy with that day's work. So, who is going to face James Rhodes in the final? Is it going to be an all Lupo final? Or is it going to be a Jetta? Oh. Right. So Jamie double bolts. Paul Jackson comes in. The lights drop. Ball gets the better start. Issues for Jamie, and this is going to be an all Paul Jackson run as he goes 112 at the 8th and goes into the 9s with a 992 at 142. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a 20 valve turbo 4-wheel drive Lupo dogfight.
Those guys have been racing quite a lot this season on test days, and that is going to be a fantastic final. No burnouts required in this final because both cars are four-wheel drive, they're running on slicks, and that track is lovely and sticky. It's an all 20-valve turbo final. As I said about the club sponsors, James Rose roll cage built by club sponsor Hangar 30. Paul Jackson's is going for a roll cage at Hangar 30 in a couple of weeks' time because he won one in a competition. They both bought tyres from Track Stuff Racing Fuel and Tyres. Cars tuned by Vox Workshop, another club sponsor. Engine built by Pro Race Engineering, another club sponsor. As both of the cars go in, the lights are on. Oh, goes red straight away. He gives it away. What did he go red by? 0.08 on a Pro Tree. James Rhodes rolls through at a 10.25 at 136 to be the winner.